Tim, thank you so much for
Thank you.
today. I love how you mix the jazz with explaining what diversity, equity, and inclusion really
Thank you.
is. I love that, so I hope everyone goes back and watches because I was recording it.
Oh, thank you.
Yes,
Thank you.
yes, I loved it. So you had touched on the performance gap,
Yes.
like here in Evanston. What do you think we could do? Because that's been a big issue. It's been a big question. We've been talking about it for several years, many years. What are your thoughts on that?
Wow, that's a great question. You know, I a lot of times the performance gap starts off early on. So when kids birth to 3, you know, when I was a kid, there was ample opportunities for kids to go to daycare, to go to preschool, to get that leg up because parents work. You know, not everyone have the resources or the opportunity. So really looking at what are those opportunities for kids early on, you know, newborns to 3 to 4, before they enter into kindergarten, I think is one. I think the second piece is understanding or figuring out how do we get more people of color, particularly men of color, African American and Hispanic men, to become teachers or to recruit them from different careers. Because part of the education process is for people to see people who look like them, who are successful, who have learned, and then they will want to emulate them.
Okay, and how can we get more people involved in education to be teachers so that they could see, I could be an educator one day?
You know, I think part of it is that, you know, we tend to stick through with education, people who have gone through and done education, gone to school to become a teacher and all of that. But when you look at corporations in particular, corporations identify great talent, the ability to read, write, think critically, to solve problems. To me, those are the same criteria that teachers need. And so corporations will tend to take people, and universities does this as well, people who may be second career, may have done things earlier in their career, but they have certain skill sets that allows them to be able to do another job. So maybe they were in sales, now they're in marketing, or they were in marketing, now they're in sales. Very similar to teachers, I think you have people who have extensive careers in other areas, the ability to teach, and to figure out how do we bring them over? How do we encourage them to come?
How do you deal with that hidden racism that tries to stop your instrument, your sound from being heard in the diversity, the inclusion, and the equity? Because in Evanston, you know, it gets a little tricky because it's so hidden.
Yes.
You know, it's so hidden.
Yeah.
How do you deal with that?
So I think part of it is that you have to be willing, and you know, Sonia Sanchez has a great quote that says you have to let people know you are there. And that's part of to me, part of the solution is that oftentimes when those hidden racism or when things are done or said, the person who has been impacted tend to not say anything, tend to not respond, tend to not stick up, call out. And I think that's what's been so great about whether it's been Black Lives Matter or Me Too, is that they've come out and said, look, you know, we're here. These are the issues. This is what I'm seeing. And I think that's how you end up making sure that you can't be afraid. You know, and understanding that people have a lot to lose, but part of courage is being able to speak your mind and being able to call truth out.
Thank you. I'm going to let you get back to your guests. Everybody wants to talk to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Mr. Russell. And when I'm sorry, Tim.
No problem. Please,
Tim.
yes. Yes, Mr. Russell's dead and gone.
Where can people hear you speak next, or what's next for you?
I'm not sure what's next. You know, I do consulting, so if someone needs me to come in, talk to them, you know, help them with their organization, think through diversity, engagement, inclusion, please feel free to reach out to me.
Where can they find you?
You can link in me, or it's tmrdivstrat@gmail, or those are the best ways to reach me. Of course, you can always look for me on Facebook.
Okay. Oh, you got a comment here. Critical thinking skills has been steadily removed from the teaching education programs and has been a credible part of watering down early education curriculums, i.e. phonetics and cursive writing.
Yes, I think critical. I think about my growing up and learning, is that, and that's why I decided when I was graduating from high school to go to Oberlin, why I went to Oberlin, one of the reasons, outside the fact that I was born there, was that the focus was on learning and labor, critical thinking. It was on the idea of being able to think critically, to be able to think outside the box, and to be able to have a real conversation about issues. And I think that's the piece that is often missing in education. We're now teaching, and I'm not a teacher, so I'll be the first to admit, but we're now teaching to a test and not to the skills that kids will need when they get out into the real workforce.
Okay. Thank you for that comment, Mr. Eason. All right. Thank you so much,
Thank you.
Tim. You have a great day. Thank
Pleasure.
you for your
You too.
time.
Take care.
All right.
Bye.